Do you want to be that one annoying person in PvP that just hardcore spams spells, like a crappier version of Sir Gideon Ofnir? Or are you just simply too lazy to actually fight bosses in the game, so you want to use the most OP spells you can find, so you can just cheese the boss? Well, whatever the reason is, you came to the right place, because today, I'm going to teach you how to make your own mage build in Elden Ring. Now, what I mean by this is that instead of just showing you a mage build that you can copy off of, I'm going to just teach you all the main factors of making this build and how to make your own. First up, you're going to need a main weapon. This is a weapon that your build is going to revolve around, and it will do some form of magic damage, but it will also be a melee alternative, just in case you need to get really close to whatever you're fighting. First up, we got the Dark Moon Greatsword. Now, you get this weapon after you beat Ronnie's questline, which is one of the main questlines of the game, and after you beat this questline, not only do you get this super cool weapon, but you also get an ending that kind of continues after Ronnie's questline. And if you want to do this questline, I'd recommend looking up a YouTube tutorial because it is a pretty long and a pretty difficult questline. But the thing that is really cool about this weapon is that it can fire like these, I guess, little like blades, I don't know how to put it, of like frost that not only can stagger your enemy, do a ton of damage per hit, but they can also do frostbite damage. And this sword can tear bosses to bits. It can tear bosses, enemies, people in PvP. The only thing you have to really be careful of is that like each projectile does take a little bit of time to charge up. Not a lot, but enough for your opponent to get a hit in. The next weapon that you can use is the Royal Greatsword. Now the way you get this weapon is also by doing Ronnie's questline. Not by completing it, but you'll get this weapon during kind of the middle of Ronnie's questline. But the reason this weapon is great is because it's different from the other magic swords that you can use, because the other magic swords in the game, usually they just shoot out some sort of like magic projectile, but this one actually has a really cool animation to it, and it can also stagger your enemies, and I believe it can also do frost damage. And it's a really cool weapon, especially if you're good with a melee build, and I'd highly recommend using it if, well, you're good with a melee build. Now, if you're too lazy to do Ronnie's questline, you can just use Moonveil. Now, the thing I love about this weapon is that not only can you get it at the very beginning of the game, before you even fight your first boss, and use it all the way to Elden Beast, but it also has an insanely fast attack speed, and is insanely good at staggering anything. Enemies, bosses, other players in PvP, you name it, Moonveil can stagger it. So you're probably wondering how to get Moonveil. Well, first you're going to want to go to Gale Tunnel. This is where it is on the map in case you're wondering. And you're basically going to have to go through the cave. Now once you get to the site of grace, just follow what I'm doing on the video, and you should get to the place you need to go. Now I run past all the enemies. If you want, you can fight them, but personally I just don't want to take the time to actually fight them, you know. But yeah, you're just going to want to run past this cave, and when you get to this area, make sure you go through the single door and not the double doors, because the double doors has a very strong boss that, well, after killing you do get Moonveil, but you definitely want to get the site of grace first, just in case you die, so you don't have to go through that whole path again. Well, now that you have the site of grace, you're going to want to go through those double doors and get Moonveil. Now, there's a couple things that you do want to know. The boss arena is going to be pretty cramped, considering that the boss is a magma wyvern that takes up most of the arena, and it's going to be shooting magma everywhere. So you're not going to have a lot of room, so I just recommend staying close to the boss, so you can definitely just get some good hits in and try and just, kill it as soon as possible. And also be careful of where you are in the arena, because like I said, you're not going to have a lot of room to work with. But anyways, as soon as you beat this boss, you will get Moonveil. It is a little tricky, but just learn its moveset and you'll be fine. Now that we have your main weapon down, we're going to want to get you what is probably the most important part of this build, and that would be a staff and a matching armor set that boosts the same exact spells that your staff does. Let's get into it. The first staff that you can use is the Carton Regional Scepter. Now, you get this staff after you beat Ronalda, Queen of the Full Moon, which you can find here on the map. Now, this staff boosts Full Moon Sorcery, and both of the Full Moon spells in this game do frostbite damage. So instead of using the armor that comes with the staff, I'd recommend using the Snow Witch armor, so this way your full moon spells are basically OP, because not only is the staff boosting them, but so is the armor set that you're wearing, and it makes a really good frost mage build. Now, if you're more of a fan of glintstone magic, I would highly recommend using the Azure Glintstone Staff, the matching Azure Glintstone Armor. Now, if you couldn't already tell from the name, this armor set boosts glintstone magic, and it even boosts the spell Common Azure, which is already one of the strongest and most OP spells in the game. Well, it takes that and makes it even stronger. So if you're a fan of both of these kinds of magic, I would highly recommend using this armor set. Next up, we have the Loose Sax armor set with the matching Loose Sax Glintstone Staff. Now, this armor set boosts star-based magic, or basically just any spell that has the word star in its name. So, if you're a huge fan of that kind of magic, I'd highly recommend getting this armor set and matching staff. But you're probably wondering, how do I actually get all this stuff? Well, you get this armor set and the Azure Glintstone armor set by doing Sorceress Celine's questline, which I'd highly recommend looking up a YouTube tutorial for, because, well, it is a bit of a tricky questline with a ton of hidden steps. But, unfortunately, you do not get neither of these staffs by doing that questline, so let me show you how to get those. Alright, so in order to get the Azure Glintstone staff, all you need to do is first fight the Red Wolf of Radagon, which you can find here on the map, and then just follow the path I'm showing you on the video. Now, the Red Wolf is a pretty annoying boss, but it's also fairly easy considering he does not have a ton of health. Anyways, like I said, just follow the path in the video, and you'll get the staff in no time. Now, once you get over here, you're going to want to jump through this window, and you're just simply going to want to land on the chandelier, because there's an Academy Glintstone key on the chandelier. Now, I already took it on this playthrough, so that's the reason why, well, it's not there. But since this is your first time coming here, you'll obviously be able to find it. And once you get the key, you're going to want to jump down onto this bridge. Now, there is a ton of dangerous enemies here, so just be careful for them, but they're relatively easy to kill, so just get past them real quick. Run over to, well, this direction. Yeah, kill this dude too, because, well, he's even more annoying. And also, on that dead body over there, you will find a spell. I'd highly recommend taking it, because, well, you might as well take what you can get while you're down here. And then you're going to want to cross this bridge over here. And there's also going to be another enemy here waiting to ambush you, so be careful for him. But again, you know, relatively easy to kill. And then you'll go down this corridor and you'll find this assassin guy. And he's guarding the thing we're looking for. So you're just going to want to kill him real quick. He's a pretty annoying, kind of like a mini-boss. But yeah, just kill him real quick. And then, you know, you're obviously going to want to go into the room. And then you'll find the Azure Glintstone staff, alright? It'll be right here, right in front of this weird crystal shard stone thing. I don't know what you call that. But it should be right there. If you want to get Loose Sax Glintstone staff, what you're going to want to do is that you want to get to this location on the map, and when you do that, you're going to want to follow the path I'm showing you in the video. Now, there is a bit of a catch, but you'll know what I mean when you get there. Now, once you get here, you're going to want to take a left, and then just go, run past all the enemies and go on a straight path. And when you get here, this is where we find the staff. But as you can tell, there's a seal here. Now, let me show you how to break the seal. Now, the way you break the seal for that specific room is that you need to light 3 torches that you'll find within the town. This is how you get to the first one. You just simply want to go up those stairs and then do a little bit of parkour. I'd highly recommend doing this on torrent just because it'll be a lot easier. And then you're going to want to get down there, mess up the jump if you're like me, try and get it on torrent again so, you can get back up there. And when you do that, you just simply want to climb up the ladder and light the torch. And you need to light 2 more of these in order to break the seal. Now for the second torch, you're going to want to go up the same set of stairs, but instead of going all the way up, you want to jump off and land, well, on that big tree branch. And then you want to do a little bit of parkour through the buildings. It's that big tall building, that's where the second torch is. You can see it from over here. So yeah, just do a little bit of more parkour, and you should be there in no time. And the third torch is actually relatively close to the second one too. So yeah, you should be able to get there. I'll show you just in case you, don't know. And also because, I just want to show you because I already got the footage. So yeah, you're going to light up the second torch. A seal somewhere else in the town has been broken, but that's not important right now because we're trying to get the staff. And then, well, yeah, you're obviously going to want to go back down the ladder, and you can literally see where the third torch is from over here. So yeah, just hop back on torrent and do a little bit of parkour, and then you'll be there in no time. And when I mean by parkour, I mean literally just jumping, because there's not really a lot of parkour to do here. And yeah, you're here. And now I believe there's actually a 4th torch somewhere in this village that breaks another seal, but that's not important right now, because right now we're just trying to get you that staff you're looking for. So if you lit in those 3 torches, the seal should be broken and you should see yellow mist. Now if you've been playing this game for, well, at least an hour, you should know that yellow mist means that there's a boss ahead. So yeah, you're gonna have to fight a boss. But it's a super easy boss. Like, they do not do any damage. They have no health whatsoever. Honestly, I'd consider it more of just, like, a slightly strong enemy. I mean, Sir Gideon Ofnir has more health than these guys. Like, it's stupid, honestly. So, yeah, I just want to fight these guys real quick, get past them, and you should be able to get the staff in no time. Now, once you beat that super easy boss, you will see that you get a pretty cool weapon, but it's not the thing we're looking for. So you're wondering, how do you actually get the staff? Well, once you get the Sight of Grace, make sure that you go up this set of stairs, and then you'll see a chest, and if you couldn't already tell where this is going, that chest contains the item that we're looking for. Yeah, so that's how you get the Lucas Glintstone staff. Alright, now that we have our main weapon, our staff, and our armor set, let's go over what is arguably the most important part of the build, and that would be the talismans. Now, the first talisman I use is the Green Turtle Talisman. Now, what this talisman does is that it boosts my stamina recovery speed. Now, the reason I use it is because a lot of the weapons and spells you use as a mage drain your stamina. And since mage armor does not have the best defense, you always need to have stamina to dodge your opponents or the boss you're fighting or whatever. You need to dodge, because if you run out of stamina and you get hit, chances are that hit's going to take like 90% of your health. The next talisman I use is the Stargazer Heirloom, which increases your intelligence. This one's pretty self-explanatory. As a mage, you need a lot of intelligence so you can use spells, and so that those spells can do more damage. The next talisman I use is the Shards of Alexander, which greatly boosts the attack power of skill. And if you don't know what skill is, it's basically any kind of attack that consumes FP. And since you're a mage, that is literally almost all of your attacks. So you can imagine how useful this talisman can be. Now, the last talisman I use is the Carton Filcreed Crest, which lowers the consumption of mana per skill. Now, this one should also be pretty self-explanatory on why I would use it, because again, all of my attacks are skill, and it definitely does not hurt to have them be a little bit cheaper than they usually are. Now, other talismans that you can use for this build are the Assassin's Curlian Dagger, which if you're really good at staggering enemies, I would highly recommend using because basically, whenever you land a critical hit, it restores FP. Now, the reason I don't use it is because, well, I suck at landing critical hits, but if you're actually good at doing it, I would highly recommend using this talisman. And another talisman that you can use is the Magic Scorpion Charm. Now, I would not recommend using it, but you definitely can use it since this is a magic-based build. But you already don't take physical damage well if you're a mage, and making that even lower to do more magic damage is a risky move, but if you really want to do that extra bit of magic damage, you can do it. Alright, now let's go over the thing that makes this build just as good as it is, and that would be what we put in our Wondrous Physique mix. Now the first thing you're going to want to put is the Curloin Hidden Tear, which you can find after you beat the Tree Spirit at the Volcano Manor Minor Erd Tree. Now the next tier you're going to want to put is the Magic Shrouding Crackle Tier, which you get after beating the Tree Avatar at this Minor Erd Tree. Now, you can imagine why you'd want both of these in the flask because, well, one of them eliminates all FP consumption and the other one boosts magic damage. And again, you do magic damage since you're a mage. And also, this is why I recommend using the spell Common Azure, because this flask with Common Azure is a match made in heaven. It's like peanut butter and jelly. It decimates bosses, enemies, people in PvP. Well, maybe not PvP, because, well, most people are smart enough to dodge it, but you get what I'm trying to say. Speaking of spells, what kind of spells do you actually want to use? Well, if you're using the Frost Mage build, you're obviously going to want to use Full Moon Magic with Frost Magic, and if you're using the Glintstone Mage build, you're obviously going to want to use Glintstone Magic, and if you're using Lusak's armor set, you're obviously going to want to use Star-based Magic. But no matter what kind of mage build you're using, use Common Azure, because with that flask I mentioned earlier, trust me, it will tear bosses to bits. Last and certainly not least, we have levels. Now, the only things you really need to put levels into is Vigor, because, well, Mage Armor does not give you the best defense, so you're definitely going to want at least 45 Vigor so you don't get one-tapped by everything. Mind, well, again, you're going to use a lot of FP because you're a mage, so it's definitely good to have a good amount of it, so you don't always have to replenish it. And then intelligence, and this one should be pretty self-explanatory, but like you need intelligence to use spells, and so that spells can do more damage. So this one makes a lot of sense, and also depending on what kind of weapon you're planning to use, like if you're planning to use the Dark Moon Greatsword or the Royal Greatsword, you should probably upgrade a little bit into strength so you can actually use these weapons, and then every once in a while level up endurance so you have a decent amount of stamina. Well, that's everything you need to know about being a mage in Elden Ring, so have fun, spam spells, be annoying, do whatever mages do in Elden Ring, I don't really know. Anyways, that's all I have for you guys today, so I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.